What if you could force months of muscle growth into just 30 days? Training a muscle every single day.
You're gonna get hurt, you're gonna injured, you won't be able to recover, it will not work in the real world. I'm significantly smarter than Jeremy. I'm sorry, I'm just telling you the truth. Coach Greg, in today's video, what is the fastest way to build muscle? What if I told you that training a body part every single day can and will build you more muscle than training less frequently? Let's call it twice a week. Jeremy Ethier aims to find out
Training a muscle every single day. And I'm testing it on these 3 people to see if it actually works.
Coach Greg is going to start off by saying that it isn't going to work. That training a muscle every single day, it's suboptimal. That your muscles, they repair and grow when you're resting. And if you're not resting enough, you can't just continue to build muscle. This is my working theory. I don't have proof. I'm not a science-based lifter. I'm a person that goes by logic, a logic-based lifter. It's better than science. If you were to tell me that training a muscle every single day was better, then why wouldn't I just train a muscle every single day? It would be better. You don't think that somebody by now would have discovered this? Somebody would have experimented? They would have used this training and they would have became the Mr. Olympia champion. When we literally have guys like Dorian Yates who says the exact opposite. How often did Dorian train? Perhaps a muscle twice a week, couple sets. And that is it. He won the Mr. Olympia, I believe, 6 times. It was a lot. Volume training every single day. Is it possible that it works better in the short term? Yes. I believe that training a muscle every single day, overtraining, can temporarily cause enhanced muscle swelling that not even an MRI could distinguish. Your body needs to rest and recover, not just to build muscle, but also to avoid injury. And so if you start training every single day, let's call it squats, bench press, I don't care. In the short term, sure, maybe it works, but if you were to continue that for months, years, it wouldn't be better than a properly structured program. I guarantee you that.
Each person will work out their right side every day, and the other side just twice a week.
I'm going to say that if you don't train hard, if you're leaving several reps in reserve, that training every single day is better than training twice a day because it isn't too much. To the same extent, running every single day, if you run slowly and only for 1 mile, I do believe you're going to have more improvements in running than if you only ran twice a week. But if you're training hard, I'm talking about brutal intensity to failure and beyond, training every single day, it makes no sense.
On top of that, fitting in a workout every single day has been a challenge.
It is currently 11 p.m. Instead of going to sleep, I'm gonna go work out.
You see what I'm saying? She doesn't push herself hard, and so the more she trains, in my view, the better. If you're training suboptimally, you're not pushing yourself hard, you train like Mr. Mike, then training every single day, it probably makes sense.
Everyone's biggest concern is the soreness. If a muscle's still sore, it's damaged. And if it's still damaged, training it again is, well, just dumb. Right?
Not only that, when the muscle's sore, it's more likely to get injured. Injury prevention is paramount. How exactly are we going to train? If the muscle, the tendon, the ligaments, whatever is injured, how are you going to continue to put on muscle? And so perhaps for 30 days, for a week, you can get away with it. But if you continue to do this, thinking, you know what, I watched a Jeremy Ethier video and I'm going to apply that in my own training. I'm training my full body every single day. You're going to get hurt, you're going to injured, you won't be able to recover, it will not work in the real world. Isolated on one body part for a month, sure, hey, maybe it can make a difference, but it's not something to apply to your training.
Your muscles can be ready to train again well before the soreness actually goes away. So even though everyone's muscles felt destroyed, the real test was whether they could still perform.
If you go to the gym and you're sore, you shouldn't go as hard as you can. Maybe I should explain that again. If you're training and you experience soreness, your chest is sore, and perhaps it's 1 or 2 days later and your chest is still sore, you can still go train, but you got to go easy. You can take a deload, you can go train half-ass, but you shouldn't push yourself as much as when you're fresh. No matter what is stated based on science-based lifting, I'm telling you to use logic. Remember, logic-based lifting. A sore muscle shouldn't be as trained as hard as when you're fresh. If you do, there's a greater chance of injury. You won't be able to train as effectively. And so be careful what you wish for.
When I do play pickleball, I almost slipped the other day and I was able to catch myself with my right leg.
And so it's not just the injuries that you might get while training, it's injuries outside of the gym. For example, last night I was running in for the pool, it was a little bit wet, and I slipped and I almost fell. Luckily, I caught myself with one leg. I had the strength to not fall on the floor. And I told Mepsigram, if I were 70, I would have hit the floor. I would not have had the strength because I really slipped hard and I caught myself and I was actually surprised. I can't believe I stayed up on my feet, but I hadn't been overtraining my legs. Had I have just trained harder than last time, for example, 17 days in a row, this leg, wouldn't have had the energy. I would have been sore. I would have gotten injured. Perhaps I would have dislocated my knee. I would have torn a muscle, banged my head. Who knows what could have happened? And so avoiding injury, it is more important than you know.
And then just 8 days into the experiment,
Again, the girl's not training hard.
But so is what's called the repeated bout effect, which just means that when you repetitively do the same thing that challenges the muscle and produces muscle damage, it gets drastically reduced.
Or there's something called he's not training as hard as he could because he has to train every single day for 30 days straight. When you know you have to train yourself as hard as you can for 30 days straight, you don't train as hard as you can. You train as hard as you want. Just like Jeff Nipa in his last video, when there's only 45 minutes that you're going to train, you only have so many sets that you can do, you push harder. He knows tomorrow I'm going to train again. He's going to go through the motions, but he's going to hold a little bit back. They are not pushing themselves to their limits. And to the same extent that we know that this female isn't pushing harder than last time, we can assume that he isn't as well. When you're training the same muscle every single day, you're not training as hard as if you train the same muscle every other day. And so no matter what this experiment says, they would have been better to have days off.
but just as the everyday side started looking like the winner, during a set of leg extensions, Max felt a sharp pain in his knee. And that's when I started getting worried.
Sharp pain in his knee. If you train yourself every single day and you push hard, eventually you're going to get hurt. And if you get hurt, you can't make gains, you can't train effectively. And so training every day, I wouldn't recommend it.
Every single one of them gained insane amounts of strength, shattering their day one personal records. But over half of them ended up getting hurt.
I mean, did you not hear that experiment? Half got hurt. 34 days straight, every single day you're training, half got hurt. What are the odds you're going to get hurt if you train similar to this? It's 50%, half. Do you understand this? And so why would you take on a training program where the rate of injury is approximately 50%? Are those really good odds? And so for 50% of people, hey, if you didn't get hurt, you got better. It improved more than ever before. You've hacked the system. The only problem is the other half who couldn't finish the training, well, they clearly got worse. And how do we know if they couldn't train for months? And so is it worth a 50% chance to make those gains when the other 50% are getting injured? I don't think so.
And one of the most consistent findings in exercise science is the more hard sets you do for a muscle, the more it tends to grow.
The problem is that they're training like pussies. And when they say close to failure, what they mean is they're training half-ass. Let's just be honest. These people aren't training hard. You guys don't know what hard looks like. If you want to see hard, ask Mike Menser, ask Dorian Yates, Tom Platz. This is not hard. Close to failure with good form. When I'm doing lat pull downs, I'm close to failure 10 reps before I'm actually at failure. If I swing a little bit, if I use a little body English, if you will, I can go for 10 reps more. And so just because somebody says they're training hard, says they're training close to failure, it doesn't mean that they are. And so, yeah, 35 sets in a week, they put on more muscle than training 10. But if they trained like me, they would put on more muscle training 5 sets than those 35.
For both her biceps and triceps, her everyday side performed 3 more reps than her regular side. As for Brandon,
How do you feel on your right side?
Feel pretty strong, actually.
What side do you think that they chose to train? If you had to train one side of your body every single day, which side would you choose? Would it be the dominant side, the side that's already stronger? Or would you choose the weaker? Most people, if they had to use an arm over and over again, it's going to be their dominant arm. And so, for example, I'm right-handed. I use my right arm more. And so in this experiment, I'm willing to bet that they probably trained with the dominant arm more. And so when you see more reps being performed, when you see a side that's stronger, could it be because that is their stronger arm? Or is it totally because of their training?
So everyone took 3 rest days before the scans to avoid the chance of any muscle swelling on their everyday side skewing the result.
They took 3 days off to avoid any chance of swelling. After training your entire body each and every day, it would take approximately 5 to 7 days to remove the swelling. And so he rested them for 3 days to remove any possible chance of swelling. But yet swelling doesn't subside for approximately a week. This is why you need to contact Coach Greg before you do these flawed design studies. Like, do you guys not understand the importance of properly setting up a program before it gets started? Remember, I don't have a PhD. I also didn't write a thesis with 300 plus mistakes in it, but I do have my master's and I had the highest average in university. And just like Jeremy, I'm from Canada. The only thing is I'm significantly smarter than Jeremy. I'm sorry, I'm just telling you the truth. And so the design of this study is flawed. If we were trying to publish this study to say, hey, this is how you should train, this is how you shouldn't train, and we determined that one side of the body has more muscle than the other, after 3 days of rest, it's not fair. It doesn't make any sense. If you have this kind of overtraining and you only rest for 3 days, it is not enough to reduce the possibility of swelling. And so just because the muscle's bigger, it doesn't mean it's bigger from having more muscle. It simply could be acute swelling within the muscle.
The side that you did not train every single day, that grew about 1% bigger. The side that you trained every day, it grew 3% bigger.
Wow, okay.
Which was against what you originally thought.
But it's exactly what I would have thought because she isn't training hard enough. And so if you're not training hard enough and you're training twice a week, then adding in 5 additional days to 7 days a week, well, that's going to make greater improvements. Now, hear me out. Imagine if the side she had trained twice a week, she'd actually decide to train hard. And so for every set that she did, she added 3 additional reps. Or she got to failure, rested for 15 or 30 seconds, and did another set. You know, myo rep training. Or she pyramided the weight down, drop sets. So for example, she's doing 15 pounds for 10 reps on the biceps. She drops the 15s, grabs the 10s, maybe the 12s, and does additional reps. Do you not think that that would have built more muscle than what she's doing right now? And so rather than thinking, I have to train my biceps 7 days a week, why not just think, I have to continue to train my biceps twice a week, but this time train hard? Training hard works, guys. Jeff Nippert, he now realizes this. He has discovered the error of his ways. In his latest video, as well as his previous video where he had added on 2.7 pounds of muscle in a year, after all those years, he did so while doing less volume, but training hard. Training hard is the key. If you don't train hard, train harder. How hard? How hard did you say? Harder than last time. You got it?
It grew about 2 to 3% bigger.
Well, if it's a 2% growth in a month, after 12 months, that's 24%.
You see, it doesn't work like that. Just because it grew 2.5% in a month doesn't mean that if you continue to do the same thing, that you can multiply by 12. This is what people didn't understand when I was using, for example, Turk Builder Max and I put on 4 pounds in a month. That didn't mean that I would put on 48 pounds in a year. Like, you can't extrapolate in that sense. Now, the 2.5% growth, is it possible that it was inflammation? Of course it is. Like, think about it. He was training his quads every single day for a month. Do you not think that that could cause localized swelling? Blood, water, nutrients is going to that area and it's inflamed. And so after 3 days, there's still the inflammation, which accounts for the 2.5% growth. It can be as simple as that. And oftentimes the simplest explanation is the correct one.
I actually don't think that's the smartest way to apply this. You see, the daily training side won because we gave the muscle a small enough dose each day that it could still recover, but enough total work across the week to grow faster.
And remember, we're not accounting for the localized inflammation that could have occurred. And also, the side that trained twice a week could have trained a little bit harder. Training 7 days a week, easy, is probably going to build more muscle than training 2 days a week, easy. But if you're really pushing yourself, training hard like Dorian Yates, Mike Menser, Coach Greg, and so on, training 7 days a week It's not better than 2. Each muscle needs 2 to 3 at most sessions per week in order to maximize muscle hypertrophy. Even if it was better, which it's possible you build more muscle in a month. It doesn't mean that it's going to build more muscle the second month, the third month, and so on. And it could, in fact, get worse. The first month, the load, the accumulated load, the fatigue, it's adding up. It's compounding on itself. Eventually, there could be a time when you just can't do it anymore. You need to take a week off, perhaps a month off. You're overtrained, your ligaments, the tendons, they cannot handle it, and you wind up injured. And so just because in a 1-month experiment, one method of training is better than another, it doesn't mean that that method is better overall. For many people, many experiments, doing anything for 1 month, the body can handle it. Perhaps you can handle cycling 4 hours a day, every day for a month, but can you handle that for a year? And so temporarily, if you want to apply overreaching, overtraining, well, it may in fact be effective, but only for a limited time. And so if you do try to incorporate this training, you got to be careful. Perhaps you can use it for a couple of weeks, maybe a month. But my better suggestion is just train harder. Rather than adding training volume every single day, training 7 days a week, just push yourself. Why do we need to reinvent the wheel? Remember, science-based lifting, yeah, some of you like it, but logic-based lifting, it is second to none. And don't forget, if you want to make even more gains than last time, add in HTLT supplements. For example, Turk Builder Max, or the newest supplement that we've got coming to market. It's Ferula Max in order to double, if not triple, your testosterone levels. This is the best new supplement to come to market in decades. And are you in fact surprised that HTLT supplements would be the company to bring it to you first? No other company has this. No one. It is not available. Ferula, guys, I'm pushing 50. I actually am 50. And I was able to get 50 keys of Ferula Max across the border. Get it before it's gone. We could only make it in its limited supply. This is a very rare plant. It's very difficult to procure. If it doesn't do exactly what is promised, if it doesn't meet or exceed your expectations, it's a money back guarantee. That means completely your money back. I can't wait to see all the videos of people getting their blood works done saying, I can't believe it, 1,200 nanograms per deciliter. Who would have thought? I'm stronger than ever before. My sex drive is better. And remember, it's 100% natural. It's not banned by WADA. Subscribe, click your bell button, comment to boost the algo, of course, for Algo RX. And obviously, you watch one of those 2 bloops. If you want to get sponsored, if you want to carry the supplements in your stores and or gym, or if you want to be coached by myself or myself and my team, there's a link for that as well. And until next time, I am out.